All aboard! Hello and welcome, and this is going to be my layout project for 2023, and it's one that's been on the books for many years, but I've not had the real opportunity to build it up till now. I did play with other ideas for having bits of layout. I were going to have a continuous circuit above me bed, and I was thinking of an end-to-end layer, but I've decided on a real location, and I'm going to be building it as prototypical as possible. It's where the Salford Crescent station is now, and it was the Windsor Bridge area, as seen here from the signal box. I did used to work in the signal box. You can see the bridge, the cranes are there. So it dates it to 82, when they were working to widen the bridge. All going in towards building the Salford Crescent they have now. And this was the signal box. It was Windsor Bridge, number 3. Hence the gap at the end of the sign on it. It was shortened to just Windsor Bridge, because it was the only Windsor Bridge box. But the gap was left on because they just took the numbers out and painted it black, but it was originally Windsor number 3. And here I am working the box. I was actually a train register lad, a young 17-year-old whippersnapper, but every now and again the signalman would let you have a go at working the box. So it taught you a bit of how it worked, like learning to do local passengers expresses and doing the signals and points, and learn you a bit about the box. I didn't really want to stay in, I wanted to be a driver, but my eyesight let me down. So once I'd finished in the box I left the railways. But here's Charlie, the signal box cat, and he did have 9 lives, in fact considerably more, because he knew when it were dinner time and he used to be mousing in the factory, well, the old disused factory across the way. He'd be mousing in there, then he'd run across the tracks. He didn't give a shit what were coming, and quite often he instantly panicked when he running between one set of wheels on a moving train and come out the other side between another set of wheels. How he never got sliced in half is beyond me. Anyway, here's the diagram, and it shows it gives a good variety of operations. It gives a shunting yard. It gives a little business off on the side where there was a grind frame. It was Cox and Dank's scrapyard, and they originally dealt in maritime scrap and stuff like that, but here you have the track layout I sketched up at one point. I'll obviously do some compressing and stuff to make it look as prototypical as possible, whilst at the same time fitting it into the space I've got. And as you can see, it gives crossovers, points, it gives shunting sidings, it gives, as you'll see later, it gives 2 types of signals. I can have semaphores and colour lights. And this is not many years after. I'm dealing in the 82 frame. By 87, this drawing, most of the lines were out, and it has the Windsor station. It says work site, but that was where the Salford Crescent station is now. And then once that were in, they took the other two lines up. Anyway, boxes nearby. This was Brindle Heath Junction. And I used to know the signalman there, Ricky Dent. So I used to go in there every now and again. Sit and have a laugh. About days gone by, and off to the right was Brindle Heath Sidings, and Ralphie Hollingshead worked there, and he was a character. He was an older guy that thought he was about 30 years younger, and you used to have a right laugh with him, and he used to always be winding the guy up in this signal box. We called the guy in this signal box Dogger. He used to be, his real name was Keith Morrow. Nice lad, but we used to wind him up calling him Dogger. And it's a wartime type signal box that we designed to be easily rebuilt if blasted out. And more resistant anyway to bombs. Then further down the line you had Kersley. And at this point the sidings had been taken out to the power station. It was, I think they were taken out in 77. But this had been early 80s. It'd have been the Scotch Express going past. And also the layout gives me the opportunity to run steam excursions. We got the Nigel Gresley past here, it's passing Kersley, the box further down from us, which would have gone past Windsor eventually. And in the opposite direction we had Deal Street, which was another unusual box. I used to get cleaning duties on a Sunday here, and you weren't there long. You used to go at 6 in the morning, and sometimes they'd let you go by 8 o'clock. You were meant to be there all day, but they went go on, clear off. And here inside, this is the Westinghouse signal gear. I've left the credit on to the photographer. And again, this is the Westinghouse gear, and it has the repeaters above the signals. Tells you whether they're off or on, and tells you the status signals. And this is Windsor Bridge, worked during the works to put in Salford Crescent. Not, its time had been numbered here before demolition, because the new relay room is by the side of it, which it was linked into Piccadilly rather than Victoria, and now it's run from Piccadilly. So you have, if you look at the signals, they have the Piccadilly code instead of the Deal Street now. So it's in the hands of a totally different box. And here was just up the line from where I was. This is where Pendleston Station was once. And it was in the middle of the bridge there. The green area was where the platform was. And the yellow area was where the platform was. That had been disused since about the 60s, I think. The yard behind it was a plate layers yard, while I worked there in the early 80s. But the full station building's gone now. And all it is the 2 tracks there, but they left the platform in, there was no point taking it out really. Fruitless exercise. The trains can still run past, and the station's bricked up, so no point in going to all the hassle of flattening it. And here, the train, the actual line's unguarded, and it shows it's about an 82 picture this, because the crane's there. And it's still the old bridge, you can just see Deal Street's distant signals on it. On the up and down fast lines, the two left-hand lines were the up and down fast, and the two right-hand side lines are the up and down slow. And then you get the sidings on the lighter coloured ballast at the side, and the derelict building and land where the crane is. I also get a chance to paint a gasometer on the back seat, so that gives a bit of an idea of what I want on that area. It just has so much variety of the trains I can run as well, and here it gives a chance for a glorious urban decay. I love urban decay as a subject. The buildings to the left, one was burnt out and the others were derelict. They had derelict vehicles in them, so it gives a lot of choice for dereliction. And overgrown areas, all the embankment it also gives. You can just see the semaphore signals in this picture over the top of the Type 4 or Class 40, whatever you want to call it. And at the side of it, it's just visible. At the end of the carriage, there's two sets of semaphores. So I've got pictures of them, give a rough idea what they're like. So, yeah, there's quite a bit. There's a bit of modelling really in the area, because you still have the sidings going up there, so that gives chance for shunting. And anyway, this is miles from where I'm doing the layout, but it's just to say, I used to regularly cab ride Class 40s and everything, and this photo's dated 79, and in the areas I used to do it, so there's a good chance I'd have been in cab of that. If not, then another time I'd have ridden over these rails in the cab of a 40 or 47. There's more than an average chance. Because as a kid, when I was off school, I was out on railways because my dad were a guard. So I'd have been cab riding everything I got a chance to. And in that era, at one time a driver either sat me on his knee and he allowed me to drive a DMU, albeit with his guidance obviously. And anyway, here's our Windsor Bridge box again. And it's a Class 47 hauling the Glasgow Express coming out of Manchester. It used to always be crossed over onto the Bolton line. It came out on the slow line and it headed to Bolton. And there weren't many that did. I think it was only the Express Glasgow that went slow to Bolton. Very few of them did it. Maybe occasionally the ballast trains came from the slow line, because the ballast yard was at the back there. Where the end of the train is, the ballast yard was behind there. And here, I had a go, and I only did one board of it. Back in the mid-1990s. And I didn't build it right anyway, I only had 2 lines. I was building a rough representation. I'm having all 4 lines and going round to fast to Bolton, main to slow and everything. Well, slow to main, main to slow, fast to Bolton, Bolton to fast. Those were our 2 lines, up Bolton, down Bolton. Up main, down main. Up fast, down fast, up slow, down slow. Had to think then to remember them. But you had all together 8 lines to remember. And also I'll be running my Elgin DMU parcels van at some point. I must have been one of the few that rode this. And I must have been one of the last ones that went into Manchester's, what were it called? Bloody hell, Mayfield Station. I went from Manchester Victoria to Mayfield, into what was then the Mayfield Parcels Depot, and I did it on this Parcels DMU. I've actually got the Elgin model, so I'll run it even though it probably never went past our box. And also it gives me chance to run container trains, because we had the Greater Manchester refuse train past, so it gives me chance for that. So all in all, it has a great selection of things I can do with it. It has selection of trains I can run, selection of signals, selection of the junction I can do shunting. I can have it as a tail chaser, albeit built correct as it would have been, but I can have fun with it as a tail chaser as well. And just so many things it can have done to it. It can be prototypical and a bit of fun as well. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed, please subscribe. Even more important, give me a thumbs up or ring that bell. Anyway, tatsy pie.